Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a sports ethos show brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. I'm Aaron Bruski, joined as always by the Hall of Famer, Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. And we got a lot happening today. As you can see, news is breaking left and right. Everything's moving at the speed of light. We're going to have different programming. Instead of 2 episodes, we're going to do just one show. This is going to allow us to connect everything from all the latest trade news to any moves that might happen while we're live, while still working through the usual daily segments in a single episode. Also, we will have Q&A with Dr. A after this, so make sure you join him live on the Sports Ethos YouTube channel and get your questions in. Let's get started. The Dallas Mavericks are trading 10-time NBA All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, and 2 first-round picks. 2 first-round picks? And 3 second rounders. Okay, we're gonna have to suss all of that stuff out. Doc, hello, sir. And let's start going through initial thoughts, and we'll kind of work our way down through all of this mess. What's your first thought here?
Well, I'm impressed with the Washington Wizards, actually. They basically have turned Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma into Trae Young and Anthony Davis with a bunch of pick swaps. And now you've got a Washington Wizards team that has a really cool blend of seasoned veteran studs and young up-and-coming studs. Alex Sarr and Anthony Davis and Trae Young all mixed together is pretty fun. And you've got Keyshawn George coming on. You've got Bilal Coulibaly. You got Justin Champagnie. You got Trey Johnson. So props to Washington, man. I like the fact that they're going for it. I don't love Anthony Davis. Like, I don't trust that part of this deal. But, I mean, if you're going to swing for the fences and try to hit a home run, you might as well go big or go home. So I really admire what Washington has done here.
And just note, this news broke probably 15 minutes ago, tops. And so we're going to be kind of figuring it out as we go here. What I would like to know is, where did those first round picks go? Did they go from Dallas to Washington? That I am not quite sure. I guess that would be the logical thing, even though I wouldn't do it that way. Okay, from the Wizards to Dallas. Okay. All right. I guess we'll have to get some information on what those first round pick protections, if any, who those picks belong to and whatnot. Okay, so Anthony Davis, does he play? That's probably the top question on the board here. Doc, what's your first thought on, does Anthony Davis play?
The Wizards are so far out of the play-in tournament that even if they wanted to try to go for this now and get in the play-in this year, I don't think they can catch up. And if they've been reluctant to play Trae Young, I don't know why they would mess with Anthony Davis. I think if I'm Washington, I would wrap both those guys in bubble wrap and just let them cook until September, and then then turn them loose and get ready for them to both be healthy and play a full season. So my guess is Anthony Davis might play at the end. You remember when it was announced that he was shut down for the year, and then he was like, not so fast, I'm going to try to come back and play this season. We all thought that would be with a contender. Washington is not a contender for anything this year except the bottom of a good draft pick. So now it leads me to believe Anthony Davis will not play.
So we're getting some intel on the picks and the protections. Dallas is getting a 2026 Thunder. Here they're kind of good. First round pick. So maybe the number 30 overall pick in this 2026 draft. And then a 2030 protected Warriors first round pick. It's protected, so the protections they're gonna, that's gonna be the important part. And the Warriors might be bad by then. So that's interesting, in some second rounders as well. So the price, the way I read this, unless those protections are really, really small on that Warriors pick, like a top 3 or top 7, this is not a lot of return, for Dallas on this, and everybody can get their laughs in on that and whatnot. But for me, is in terms of assessing whether Anthony Davis plays, and hopefully we'll just get some clarity on that. Somebody will report whether or not that's going to happen. The way I see this is the Wizards aren't really taking a huge chance here. And in terms of Anthony Davis getting paid, I mean, that's the kicker here. You got to pay Anthony Davis in the last part of his career. And we haven't really seen him play good basketball until since last year. And even then, like, I think people get all over their skis, Doc, that Anthony Davis is this, great player. I don't think defensively he's where he's been at, in the past. And offensively, he's kind of a perimeter player. And sometimes he'll get down there in the post and do his thing. To pay Anthony Davis $30 million a year for 3 years or some big number, I don't know why you give something to do that. And if you're the Wizards and you're kind of, all right, we're going to actually do this. We're going to roll it out there with Trey. We're going to roll it out there with Anthony Davis and all this young talent we have. I mean, maybe you think you can be good, like top 4 in the East good. I almost don't even know if that's a true statement. So I guess what I'm getting at here is, does Anthony Davis need to play in order to secure his value with the Washington Wizards? And does this deal signal that the Wizards are actually in the market for these, 2 players? Like Trey Young has a player option, and he can kind of pick his own path. He's been saying and doing most of the right things in Washington, being a good soldier here. But do we have anything confirmatory that this is actually the Wizards going all in on this core, those 2 vets, and then Alexander Sarr, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, and on down the list? Do we have anything at that point?
I don't think they make this deal unless that's their intention. I mean, they want Trey to be out there throwing lobs to Alex Sarr and Anthony Davis next year. And I think they're going all in. I think this is, we've sucked for so many years. Nobody's cared about us since Michael Jordan wore 45 here. And I think they're just going for it.
Okay, we got more reporting. Tim McMahon, who knows his stuff, the Wizards' thought process on the AD trade. He says, with intent to be competitive next season, Washington added a 10-time All-Star big to pair with Trey Young without giving up homegrown young talent or premium picks. I think the key words in that tweet are competitive next season. So I think this is actually trending toward what you think, Doc, is that there's a good chance that these guys are put in bubble wrap and they continue their tank, and they run this back next season. And if it works, great. If Trey opts in, they can kind of deal with that throughout the season, and they're out of that. And if they don't like what they see, they don't need to extend Anthony Davis. And they kind of put their marker down on these 2 players. And if they don't like what they see, they can just move on. They haven't really done anything to impact their overall long-term future. So I think, to your point earlier, that I like the fact that they're in there mixing it up, and they've got a lot of outs with this. And if they want to run it back for a couple seasons, I guess it's not the end of the world, because, they're at the bottom of the heap anyway. They get a good pick this year.
They're going to get a good pick this year. They've got two legends, really. I mean, before the season started, we're like, I'm taking Trey Young around 10th in fantasy, and Anthony Davis is a top 10 pick. Like, it maybe he stays healthy, and that's what Washington's gambling on. And I'm pretty sure they consulted with Trey Young a lot before they did this move, and they probably talked to Anthony Davis a lot before they did this move. And AD and Trey were probably like, yeah, man, we're ready to roll. Like, let's do this. Let's get the money worked out, and let's go next year and see what happens.
The funny thing about the 2 timelines talk is the Warriors just got through with the 2 timelines talk, and it really hurt them over there. This isn't that, though. Their 2 timelines were banking on younger players and kind of forgoing the dynasty of the Warriors, and it has really kind of bit them in the butt. But I like the 2 timelines here, because maybe with Trey, if you sign him to a long-term deal, that might be putting yourself on a losing bet long-term, because I don't know if Trey Young can be a winning, a top tier point guard in this league, and he's going to have to change the way he plays. And the minute he changes the way he plays, he's not Trey Young anymore. So you're just kind of running in circles with that. But if they, for 2 to 3 seasons, are a core of Trey and Anthony Davis is in his last season, kind of hanging by a thread there. Maybe they can get off the Trey Young situation in the second or third year. And you've had good players surrounding your young guys, so they're not just playing in meaningless basketball games, getting worse and worse every night. All right, let's parse through this a little bit more specifically here. So on the way out for the Washington Wizards, let's start with Chris Middleton. And I guess Marvin Bagley are the guys that are currently getting minutes. Malachi Branham's not getting minutes. AJ Johnson recently getting minutes. It's almost as if they were showcasing him. I just added him in 30 deep, Doc, and I don't know if that's an equal situation now in Dallas, but who cares? Middleton's out and Bagley's out, and you're going to get an Anthony Davis who might not play on the way in. You also get Jaden Hardy and D'Angelo Russell and Dante Exum in. Now, what on the Wizards side kind of just happened here? We got two guards, D'Angelo Russell and Jaden Hardy. Should Bub Carrington and Trey Johnson and Keyshawn George take a hit here?
I mean, I don't think so. Those guys weren't doing anything in Dallas. I don't know why they were going to supplant those guys in Washington. I guess it's possible, but I mean, we're not going to know until it happens. I don't think. I don't see anything here that's going to derail anything that was going on in Washington. I do like Jaden Hardy, but he's a backup, and he's not. I mean, I just don't. I don't think there's hardly any fantasy ramifications in this entire deal. You know what I do like though is that now it looks like Dallas traded Luka Doncic to get Christie and Chris Middleton.
You had to do it. Chris Middleton being on his way out is something very interesting, because this was something that I was personally just planning for, because he is either he was either going to be bought out or now he's a part of this trade, and Dallas can theoretically try to keep him and integrate him into their tank. But then so he's gone. Justin Champagnie has been mentioned in a lot of trade rumors. Teams want him. He's got a great deal. He's been playing winning basketball. He has been playing lately, and I think they might have been showcasing these other guys over the last 2 games to make this deal probably happen. But with no Chris Middleton, Justin Champagnie, to me, I was holding Champagnie through the trade deadline and probably the week after, no matter what, just to see what happens next. All these box scores next to the trade deadline are always wonky. It's always a mess. And so you try not to make evaluations long-term during this week and the week before and even the week after. It takes a little bit for things to gear up. So I'm going to hold Justin Champagnie. This clears out the Middleton minutes, and maybe even a little bit of like Marvin Bagley had been getting some minutes at some points in time. And if Hardy doesn't play, if Russell doesn't play, if Exum's obviously not going to play, if Anthony Davis is not playing, it feels like more minutes went out than came in. And so I think that's good for Justin Champagnie.
Drew, I totally agree with that. I think Champagnie is a winner here, because Chris Middleton, like you said, was kind of holding back. What's his face? Bagley was kind of holding him back. So it should clear the way for Champagnie to get more run. Now next year, with Keyshawn there and AD there, I don't love the path to fantasy greatness for Champagnie next year, but hopefully he can be a silly season hero this year.
Let's talk Moussa Cisse. So Anthony Davis is out. That was one of the steps that we needed. Now I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 players on the way out, and 1, 2, 3, 4 players on the way in for the Washington Wizards. So that roster spot we've been talking about for Moussa Cisse is up in the air. And I guess Chris Middleton getting bought out could be one way that happens. I'm curious what they do with Marvin Bagley in Dallas. I mean, he is a live wire in the sense he could get out there and play 20 minutes of bad basketball, and that'll be whatever it is. But I think for Moussa Cisse, for me, it's always been about like what happens after the trade deadline. In the first week and then that second week, are we starting to see progress in an upward trajectory? He got minutes in the last game. He got his points and his boards. He didn't get the defensive stats. And I think with the defensive stats, I'm generally, kind of take the long view with that stuff, because they're, very small numbers. If you get 0 and 0 in 15 minutes or whatever he got in that game, well, it's just it's a crapshoot. In the next 15-minute game, he'd probably have 2 defensive stats or 3 defensive stats. And we've seen his block rates, and they're all great and all those different things. So that for me is at least step one for Musa Cisse to get through this. We saw Dan Gafford play a lot of minutes. I don't know why I keep calling him Dan. He played a lot of minutes and had a decent line, and he also hurt his ankle during the game, had to leave and come back, and he had to have his shoe off walking off the floor. So I think they're showcasing Daniel Gafford, and he wants to play some meaningful basketball before his ankle falls off. And so that would be step 2 of that process, and we'll just be watching closely. He's one of my favorite stashes right now. We got another trade.
I've got ESPN on, and they've got Sham's trade up on the screen. I paused it, and Bagley's not listed there. And I did see Bagley listed in the tweet, but if Bagley's not part of this deal, and I don't know if he is or is not, but if he's not, then there's the extra roster spot, right?
Yeah, that's we'll watch that. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's get to this next deal. The Sixers are trading Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. Sources tell ESPN. So that's Sham Charania, and Jake Fisher says there's momentum on a deal that would send Ousmane Dieng from OKC to Charlotte for Mason Plumlee. So kind of an interesting thing because Dieng has been kind of a stat guy in the very limited minutes that he's gotten. He plays on a very deep team. Charlotte has 2 big men, and they want to try to compete for a play-in spot right now. So that to me seems like depth. Dieng, another shot at potentially, finding a diamond in the rough there long term. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is just completely a nothing burger of a deal. But let's get back to the Jared McCain deal. This is yet another. And we're going to talk about Kevin Porter at some point in time during the show, and I'm going to cry on air. As I'm dropping Kevin Porter right before he comes back to action and holding on to guys like Quentin Grimes, but the Jared McCain trade opens one more slot up in Philadelphia. They've had the Paul George injury. Pardon me, not injury. He injured himself. He accidentally took something he shouldn't have taken. Jared McCain now gone. So Quentin Grimes is a little bit of a winner there. It's just like 10 minutes less per game to try to navigate in a crowded rotation there in Philadelphia. We have to see what shoe hits the ground next. And I'm thinking maybe that's them trying to get underneath the luxury tax there in Philadelphia. They've got about $7 or $8 million to go, and they've been trying to figure out how to get that figured out. I don't know if there's anything else to say there, Doc, if you feel like there is.
Well, I mean, what there is to say is Oklahoma City just got another damn good player to sit at the end of their bench. I mean, they don't have any bad players on that team. Like, they're all good.
And
they're so good.
And more breaking news. This is interesting. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out until after the All-Star break and now must be replaced for the All-Star game after sustaining an abdominal strain in last night's game against Orlando. Man, talk about a condensed news period for the first 20 minutes of the show.
Dude, I'm telling you, Brew, we should just stay on the air from now until tomorrow night at 6 p.m.
I would be wearing the adult diapers and dance the entire time like it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Handle it while each other goes to the bathroom and maybe gets a sandwich or whatever. We can do it.
I think we could do this. Start a GoFundMe for us to do this.
All right. AJ Mitchell's banged up right now. Jalen Williams is out. Now Shai's out through the break. So Lou Dort, Cason Wallace. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the fact that they just traded for Jared McCain. He's going to be back theoretically after the All-Star game. So it's not like a huge window here, but I guess it begs the question. He's out until after the All-Star break. That's very vague. Very vague because the Thunder are very vague. Like their reporting on the Jalen Williams injury has crippled many a team out there, many a fantasy squad. If they're playing the safe game here and they're bringing in Jared McCain to play real minutes, and in terms of the trade asset they give up, I'm just double checking here to see if there's anything else with this. I mean, Jang's not like a huge piece. I guess that makes it kind of okay. And SGA will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. I'm just curious, is this a 4-week injury, for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who will absolutely impact the standings of your fantasy leagues? And then the pickup is it's not safe, and it's not AJ Mitchell, or maybe it is. I mean, maybe you take a spec ad on AJ Mitchell while there's no news on him, and you buy the trade, you buy the All-Star break where there's no games being played, and he can heal up during that All-Star break. He comes out, takes a lead guard role, and Jared McCain, supports this, as does the Cason Wallaces and the Lou Dorts. Maybe Alex Caruso plays a little bit more than usual. Aaron Wiggins. Like, what's your order of operations here with this news in Oklahoma City?
Well, I mean, I'm looking real quick. I think, Alex Caruso, last I saw, is listed as doubtful. AJ Mitchell's out. Jalen Williams is out. So that leaves Jared McCain. That leaves, if Caruso's hurt, that, it has to be Cason Wallace, right? I think Cason Wallace and Lou Dort are winners, and Lou Dort went off in his last game. So Lou Dort is very interesting to me right now. And then after those two, I think it's Jared McCain.
The one issue I have with Jared McCain is it takes a lot of minutes for him to have standard league value. Now, this isn't true if you're going to punt in his deficient areas of the defensive stats. And so it just takes a lot for him to run up the board. I think AJ Mitchell is really interesting right now, because I bet he's been dropped in a lot of places. Just no news on this thing at all. And that's typically when you start to see drops. I mean, that was one of the reasons that I dropped Kevin Porter Jr. was I had too many good players, and I had to drop somebody in order to fill a roster spot because other players were injured. And you see this kind of thing happen. And of course, this morning, I'm just sitting here throwing up all over the office with what I've done.
KPJ had an abdominal strain, right?
More or less, yes. And
AJ Mitchell has an abdominal strain, and SGA has an abdominal strain. So I don't know.
It's funny, Doc. In the chat, they're now asking for us to do this like marathon thing, and I know the people in my life might actually have something to say about that. So I'm going to say no for now. I'll get back to you guys on that.
Well, next
this
year,
abdominal strain is.
I would go ahead.
Yeah, the abdominal strain.
I'd love to pull a Matthew Berry. What do they call it? They stay up all night for the NFL.
Oh, did he do
draft
that?
24-hour. Oh yeah, marathon. Hoopathon.
Maybe. Now I don't think this is happening this year, guys. But no, maybe
it's probably
maybe next year with some proper planning. But back to the AJ Mitchell thing, it's like, yeah, these abdominal strains, and one of the reasons, like the oblique thing for Kevin Porter Jr., any mid-body injury, like we saw Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner get knocked out of practically felt like the entire season. So you get into these small markets that don't have injury reporting, Milwaukee being one of them. It's actually improved in Milwaukee over the last couple of years. It's still pretty bad though. And you just don't know. And AJ Mitchell, I think a lot of people are going, I don't know, man. They're not telling us anything about Jalen. Why would they tell us anything about AJ? But with this, if AJ is not around, I would be kind of looking at Jared McCain to be a deep league guy in 14 to 16 team leagues playing, say, 24 minutes per game, something like that. But they give him the ball. They say, hey, let's see what you can do, kid. And let's see if we can establish a role for you here before we get into the stretch where all these guys come back. But that's the best I can say for Jared McCain. I think AJ Mitchell, though, if they're just not telling us anything, it wouldn't be shocking. The same thing that happened with Kevin Porter Jr. It's like out of nowhere, boom, he's playing tomorrow. And then he steps into this role with neither of the big guns there, and he's a top 50 guy. So I think AJ Mitchell warrants that kind of consideration. He's probably rostered in a lot of places, but if he's not rostered, he's probably a must-roster guy with this news. My thoughts.
He's got an ab strain, though, man. To me, the pickup is Cason Wallace.
Cason Wallace, yeah.
I want the healthy guy.
I want Cason Wallace to do good because I think he's a good player. He's also struggled with health, but he's been kind of coming on a little bit more.
I also want Cason Wallace without SGA and without Caruso and without Mitchell and without Jalen Williams, like all those guys, man. Like this is Casey Williams' moment, and we know he's good. Now I'm with you. If AJ Mitchell were healthy, it would be AJ Mitchell all day for me. So by far he's the guy that I would want, but he's not healthy, and I don't know when he's going to play again. So given that fact, the pickup for me is Kaysen and Lou Dort.
Yep. And I apologies to Kaysen Wallace's mother for the Kaysen Williams comment out of this guy over here. We'll never let it happen again.
Did I do it?
We're gonna butcher like 10 people's names on the show.
Was it me or you, bro?
It was you this time, not me.
I called him Kaysen Williams.
Yeah, of course you did.
Son of a biscuit.
Biscuits. Wallace. All right, let's get into the recaps of the trades that have happened so far. Let's see what we got here in Cleveland. We got the Cavs traded DeAndre Hunter to the Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. The Bulls got in this deal. They got Dario Saric and 2 future second-round picks out of that iteration of the deal. All right, also, Keon, by the way, the Clippers.
Keon is making his debut tonight, Brewer. Are you tuning into that?
Yeah, I got to do that. And we'll get into that in a quick second, because the Clippers are also trading James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second-round pick. So we got some winners and losers to go through here, Doc. I will be tuning in, and I don't know if we have James Harden in the house yet. I would imagine not. I'm sure we'll get a ton of news when he's available and ready to play in that deal, and I wouldn't be shocked if there were some pretty intense medicals going on for the Darius Garland side, but we'll see. All right, let's get to the Cavs. Who do you think are winners, Doc? You could go losers too. If you want to start with losers, that's fine with me as well.
I need to try to put my hat back on from yesterday when we covered all this and see if I can do it again. Dennis Schroeder is a loser because James Harden is coming. Can James Harden and Donovan Mitchell coexist? And will Harden eat into some of Donovan Mitchell's stats? I don't really know. I know you were a little worried about Jalen Tyson. I'm not as worried about him, but it is a little concerning that you have such a high volume shooter and guy in James Harden and Donovan Mitchell together now. So the other guys are going to take a hit, but there's no Evan Mobley right now either. So that works in Tyson's favor. I guess.
Are there any winners in this deal for the Cavs?
No.
I got one. That's it. I got one. And you said his name earlier. It was Keon Ellis. And I don't even think he's that big of a winner. The only winner in this is the Eastern Conference. Like they're looking at this and they're going, "Oh, thank you, Cavs. You wiped yourself off the board for the foreseeable future. Sayonara."
Playoffs.
It's good to see you. Enjoy bringing LeBron back for that farewell tour. That'll waste your time and money, which is fine. I mean, LeBron going back to his home in Cleveland is great for, storytelling and all the different things. But like, the Cavs can't win, right? Right?
I mean,
right?
If Kamala was here, he would be like, "Oh, they just got James Harden. He sucks in the playoffs. They're done, absolutely done." Like, and I mean, I feel kind of the same way about Harden, but I'm not gonna say never, but it doesn't look great based on James Harden's playoff history.
James Harden has like zero conscience about things in like terms of like winning basketball. Your team just went 15-3. You got bazillions of dollars in the bank. You've never won anything of value in the NBA. I guess he got an MVP, but
I do. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I do think Dennis Schroeder's a decent play tonight, because Harden's not there yet, and Schroeder's cleared the play, so he doesn't know the offense, but they might throw him out there. Maybe they throw your guy Keon out there. I don't know. But, Brew, yesterday you were a little worried about Jalen Tyson maybe taking a step back.
I'm also worried about Evan.
Do you feel that way today?
Yeah. No, I think it's – I was kind of getting in the mind of James Harden, which is a dangerous thing to do. Like, I was thinking, like, this thing can only work. And there is some evidence that this happened in L.A. where James sort of deferred And, Kawhi Leonard's able to do his thing, but he's Kawhi Leonard. That's one thing. And he's very, very specific about how he handles the ball. Donovan Mitchell is a little bit more up and down, and he's such a dominant force on the floor that I think he'll be respected the same way. But James Harden's going to have to really focus on what is the things that make Jalen Tyson, that make Evan Mobley, that make Jared Allen better. And that's up in the air. And then you get to the defense, and then you get to what happens when he changes his mind again and doesn't want to do whatever the team wants him to do. And so if he starts overplaying, if he starts taking too many shots, being on the ball too many different ways, the way he operates out there, sometimes just standing, not really making the defense move, like that kind of stuff can impact these guys down chain. I'm really worried, I think, about Evan Mobley. Some of the offensive responsibilities that they've given him, I don't know if they feel like they've cashed out on those. And so he might be like the logical player to take a usage hit, Jalen Tyson, small usage hit, the Dennis Schroeder addition with the James Harden addition. These two guys both take up a lot of air out of the ball. And so Jalen Tyson might not get the on-ball reps that he was previously getting, and Evan Mobley might not get the on-ball reps. Jared Allen might get a few more lobs, but if there's just overall less opportunity for him, I mean, James Harden sucks the air out of a box score. He sucks the air out of a basketball, but he also sucks the air out of a box score. So I think it's just not good. And then Keon, at least he just has a shot. Like he didn't even get a shot in Sacramento. Like they should be ashamed of themselves in Sacramento for the way that that all went down. I'm seeing some notes here in the chat. Let's see here. Interesting bit on this Sixers deal to kind of back up a little bit, Doc, since we were right at the end of the Cavs anyway. Sham says, the talented McCain lands on the reigning NBA champions. Such a great prose there from the great Sham Charania. For the 76ers, the trade allows them to receive assets, clear space in the glut of guards, and give them flexibility to bring, drum roll, Quentin Grimes back in free agency. And it also allows them to convert two-way Dominic Barlow, who, by the way, has been on a tear lately. And I think we're both Dominic Barlow fans over here, Doc. So I think yeah, go ahead.
I feel like that Dominic Barlow piece is the key. Like they needed to get rid of somebody so they could sign Barlow. And I think that's part of the reason they did this move.
There was so many weird faces. Dominic Barlow got asked by our guy, Keith Pompey, I believe, about whether he expected to be playing with the Sixers as they brought in, who do they bring in on the two-way? It was Bassey. They brought in Charles Bassey. And the reason they brought in Bassey was they needed to have 15 players on the roster to be able to play their two-way players. And I might be getting some piece of that wrong, but the idea there was that it like bought them some life in Philly. And he was asked, and he just looked like a deer in headlights. Like, please don't make me say something that might, jeopardize my future here with this club. And now it looks like the pieces are in place for him to get a full deal. And I kind of think he's worth a spec ad in all of this. Because like you go back to the beginning of the season when Paul George wasn't really playing and he was getting a lot of minutes and he was looking like a guy that was about to break through. Then Paul George comes back and it was like a 1-to-1 deal with those two, with Barlow not getting the minutes the minute that Paul George came back. And Barlow just has this stat set presence where he's going to get you some defensive stats. He's going to get you some scoring. It's going to you get some rebounding. It's going to be kind of all over the board a little bit, but I don't know if it's a must add situation. 12 team leagues. No, 14 team leagues. I think we're starting to get aggressive. We're starting to look at what Dominic Barlow can do for you after the trade deadline in a winning situation for the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, let's also ask the question about Aaron Wiggins. Wiggins had this spurt a couple weeks back. He looked really good. You were all over that, Doc. Do you think that Aaron Wiggins is worth an ad with this news with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Yes, I feel like I screwed up by not mentioning his name as well. So Wiggins, Wallace, Dort, I would say all three of them are worth consideration. However, I think Marvin Bagley is now in the graphic on ESPN. So problem solved.
Hey-o. Good thing the AI kicked in and made it all work out.
But as far as here's what you need to be careful about. You got to make sure that any of these Oklahoma City guys are worth using a pickup on before more trades happen. And I don't see anything here that makes me go, oh my God, I need to get Cason Wallace on my team. Like, I just have to have him or I'm going to die. So we haven't had anything happen yet that I think has just thrust someone, at least the teams we've talked about so far, into the path of success that you have to make a move to get them. But if you've got plenty of moves and you've got somebody you want to drop, I think picking up Cason Wallace makes a lot of sense. And I think Dort and Wiggins both have a case as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Real quick here. Shout out, huge audience today across all the different platforms. Thank you so much for your guys' support. If you guys could drop a thumbs up on the video that you're watching on the Sports Ethos YouTube channel and join us tomorrow for our trade deadline special episode. We're going to be starting at 9 a.m. Pacific. 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to have a lot of Sports Ethos analysts on the show, and we're going to be covering the action live and making sure that you guys get the best analysis that you can find out there to make sure that you make the most out of all these picks that you have during this upcoming week and get you guys pivoted for the fantasy playoffs and make sure you guys win all your leagues, etc. All right.
That's the thing. Like this morning, I was like, man, I'm down games. I'm playing against Malcolmus. I'm getting my butt kicked right now. I need as many guys as I can get going tonight. And Dylan Carter's sitting out there and he's playing tonight. And Stephon Castle's questionable. And I was like, is it worth blowing a pick to pick up Dylan Carter? And then tomorrow or tonight, something happens and some stud opens up. And here I am out of picks because I did something stupid. So you really got to think and plan on saving your picks for when you really, really need them.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like in the last 3 years, there hasn't been huge needle moving pickups during the trade deadline, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. It doesn't mean it hasn't happened millions of times in the past. So you just got to prepare as if it's going to happen every single year and be ready to go. Let's look at the Clippers now that we're returning back to this Kings, Cleveland, and Clippers sort of triangle here. Of course, we're going here. Clippers, the winners there. So we get James Harden traded out, and Darius Garland with his two bad toes brought back in. For what it's worth, he's kind of nearing a return, is what people are saying. And I'm very curious what that looks like as the Clippers season now has took a hard left. Do they start packing it in? Everybody's got the tinfoil hats on, trying to figure out what the Kawhi Leonard aspiration situation is going to do to this squad. And then, are there penalties coming down the pipeline for them? So Doc, let's talk winners in Clipperland. Who do you got?
I think Kawhi Leonard's the winner without Harden there taking all those shots. Oh, wow. Dort is out tonight. Yeah, Caruso's out. I said that one. I didn't know.
I think the Thunder are punting that game because they're scared of the Spurs.
As far as winners on the Clippers.
I'm kidding, everybody. I'm kidding.
Chris Dunn, maybe?
I think John Collins is a winner.
Kobe Sanders. I think Jordan Miller didn't get hurt. I love Jordan Miller right now, by the way. And then Johnny Collins, man, last man standing.
Yeah, I know, man. That is hilarious, and it's a little painful because as for like the fourth year in a row, had John Collins ranked a couple rounds higher than most. So, but he's doing the late round at minimum thing right now, and he had a late early round run a couple weeks back, then missed a couple games. It got a little foggy there for a second, and then he stayed in mid-round value. He's got a couple months now mid-round value. So John Collins, if he's the last man standing, it's really nice turnaround for him. So I think he gets helped by this. Like you said, Kobe Sanders, Jordan Miller. I don't think there's any losers here, to be honest. I mean, even if Darius Garland comes back and plays, like I don't think it's like hurting John Collins so much. I don't think it's knocking, the future down the road value for Kobe Sanders or Jordan Miller that much. Like, I think it's all wins on the Clippers side, at least for now. Let's get to the Kings, Doc. We got DeAndre Hunter in. We got Dennis Schroeder out. We got Keon Ellis out. We got Domantas Sabonis just on the verge of being traded, but it might not happen. We'll see what the market bears there. And so where do you go in Kingsland?
They're the Kings, man. I don't even know. I think DeAndre Hunter is probably a winner, right? I mean, he slips into that starting five and got out of Cleveland where they got all those studs. Like, now he's just another guy that's going to fight for the ball from Westbrook, LaVine, and DeRozan and Sabonis. Oh my gosh. What a disaster.
Yeah,
let's get five guys in our starting lineup who all need the ball in their hand at all times.
It's, I was listening to Doug talk about Doug Christie, head coach of the Sacramento Kings. I was listening to Doug talk about DeAndre and Keegan specifically together, and I kind of get it. Like, they're two guys that are pretty skilled, and their assist totals are low, and Keegan's assist total is explainable. Like, he plays with all these guys that don't pass the ball. He never gets the ball. Okay, cool. I can get with that. I think down the road, Keegan Murray might have 3-4 assists a game kind of a thing. And so the two of them together, though, like, there's enough skill and respectable shooting. And then the defensive side, they're pretty, like, Keegan's really good. DeAndre Hunter's better days were behind him in terms of defense, but he's still at least a physical presence, and he's going to be at least, I think, middle of the road defensively, and it makes them versatile. So I get those two pieces. It's just the problem is the Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook triangle of hell. Like, that just absolutely is brutal, but they love DeAndre Hunter in Sacramento. And they also are doing this to get Nick Clifford a lot of playing time. And unfortunately, Nick Clifford's stats are just terrible for fantasy. Like, maybe he gets good someday down the road and shoots a lot and scores a lot, but we're not seeing good percentages. We're not seeing defensive stats. We're not seeing any of the things that we need for sustainable.
Pardon me here, Professor.
Yes.
But if a guy sucks at fantasy, does that mean he probably sucks in real life too? I mean,
no, he doesn't. I don't think Nick Clifford sucks, but it's a funny question because it's like, maybe, maybe he's on a bad team doing dumb things. I will not hold it against Nick Clifford, who I think has some pretty interesting scoring potential in the NBA. What I'd like to see out of Nick Clifford is, can he get faster this offseason? Like, I remember Isaiah Collier, who had 22 assists and played 48 minutes last night. We're going to talk about him later on the show. Last season, I was watching him like, that dude is never going to get fast in the NBA. I think, like, the younger you are, it's like your peak level of quickness. And maybe there's a couple seasons in the NBA where you get full-time strength training, the full-time NBA level training treatment. You get that. And maybe you bump yourself up a couple notches. But I looked at him as, I don't think it's happening for this guy. I think he's a little too small. I think he's a little too slow. And this season, he's got burst. So that's what I'd like to see out of Nick Clifford, is if he gets burst, then he has the height, he has the length, he's got the skills package. I think he could become a scorer, but the defensive stats have to be there. If not, he's just empty calories in fantasy leagues. So those two guys, I think, were kind of the gravitational forces that brought this deal to bear, and they will play DeAndre Hunter, I think, as many minutes as he can handle. They're just going to have to trade DeMar DeRozan for DeAndre Hunter to have any value, or send Russell Westbrook packing. Those two dudes on the ball take every piece of oxygen. Yet Domantas Sabonis can't get the ball. Domantas Sabonis was that team, and he is now back and about to be traded, and that also will determine what DeAndre Hunter's value is. I think there's enough smoke around Domantas Sabonis getting dealt. And I think the framework of these deals has kind of opened up for him to be dealt. And ideally, I think, since they've signaled to Toronto that they're not going to take on Jakob Poeltl, it feels like that's a done deal. Like, there's just no interest in that. And that's a big exhale of relief for Kings fans, because you don't know what they're going to do in Sacramento. They might just kind of do it for a low return. Now Memphis might have the cash and the cap to take on Jakob Poeltl and join that deal. And then you might see Domantas Sabonis in Toronto, which then makes it viable for DeAndre Hunter to have value. I just don't see a lot of upside there. I think he's a late round guy at best. I could have probably led with that without going into that big old soliloquy about the Kings. Doc, do you have anything else you want to add about the Kings? I think there's actually a little bit more here, but I haven't let you talk. What do you like?
I don't like much. What do we do with Malik Monk, bro?
That's the name I was looking. Actually, Zach LaVine, I think, gets helped out as well. But starting with Monk, it feels like all these trade wins have hit, and maybe, hopefully, for their sake, they've got a home for DeMar DeRozan. I think when you saw the report that they were not going to buy him out, I think that was signaling to the rest of the league that they really like their guy and that the offers have to get a little bit better or just have to exist at all. Maybe that's the problem there, that there's not even a market for DeMar DeRozan, and I guess I would understand that. You got $10 million on the hook next season and a $27, I think, overall $1 million deal next season. And it's not even that so much as this guy only knows one way to play basketball right now, and that's to try to draw fouls and dribble out the clock. Love DeMar DeRozan as a person, as a player. He's done a lot in this league, but that's what he does right now on the basketball floor. So if they get rid of him, all things get better for the Kings. Malik Monk has top 50 value. But as these trade wins have gone, you've seen Malik Monk go from the guy that they've been trying to trade that they don't want to maybe the last man standing in Sacramento. And they're sort of talking openly about that. Malik Monk's now becoming more of a spokesman for the team in many ways than he's been in the past, sort of hiding out and saying, nobody talk to me. But Malik Monk, a top 50 upside, top 100 would be great, even, given all of the potential ups and downs there. And if they get rid of DeMar DeRozan, it will be very good for both he and Zach LaVine. But I think with Zach LaVine, even, just getting rid of Dennis Schroeder alone is enough, I think, to kind of open up those guard slots and give him a little bit more peace of mind. Like, he's been playing up and down, I think, because mentally taking the heat from the Kings fans and even just this glut of guards, like it's kind of taken a toll on him. You've seen him very up and down. And this is a guy, at least when he's healthy-ish, kind of just gives you what he gives you. And there's not so much wiggle there. I think he'll improve in this situation. But Malik Monk is the guy. I really think he's still stash worthy, and that the stash would be for DeMar DeRozan getting cut loose. And then the home run scenario would be Russell Westbrook somehow catching interest from somebody out there, and somehow that deal being able to materialize. And he's got a lower numbers, so it's actually theoretically possible. I don't know all the workings of the cap with him and the rest of the market, but
hey, Brew.
Yo.
Domantas Sabonis expected to remain with the Kings through the trade deadline. Talks with Raptors have flatlined per Sam Amick.
This one was interesting. There were, I have to think off the top of my head who the other candidates for Sabonis were. Obviously, Toronto was the number one. I thought it was crazy to have interest in Domantas Sabonis if you're them. I mean, Scotty Barnes isn't a shooter. Brandon Ingram is okay shooting the ball, but people don't really respect him from way out deep. Emmanuel Quickley has been rumored to be on his way out. He's a shooter. You do have some shooters on the bench that don't really play. RJ Barrett, not a shooter. It had Jakob Poeltl. He wouldn't be a part of the team if Sabonis was there. But this team's always just struggled with shooting. You're going to bring in a non-shooter who needs the ball in his hands, and you got a lot of guys that need the ball in their hands as well. I really, that deal didn't make a ton of sense, but they were very hot on it. The Wizards were the other candidate. And I think basically Toronto's interest in Domantas Sabonis was all around the Jakob Poeltl contract, that the Kings would take that on. And that was not viable because his back is really, really hurt. So Domantas Sabonis sticking around, what does this do for the Kings? We're on the Kings right now. This is perfect timing.
We've been on the Kings for a while.
As usual. Not so much this year, though. This year, I've watched maybe 8 Kings games, and I feel so much better about life. The Dylan Cardwells and the the Maxime Reynaud's. I kind of think they're somewhat safer. Reynaud had played his way out of fantasy leagues in general. And Dylan Cardwell's still a big mystery. I mean, he had a 3-block game where I literally saw 5 blocks with my own eyes. The 2 blocks on one play is Moussa Cisse stuff. Frankly, when we saw Moussa Cisse do the crazy athletic thing the other day, Dylan Cardwell's right there in the same ballpark as him. And the 2 blocks on one play, if you could find that reel, you're going to see exactly what I mean about this guy. I think he's going to get his minutes no matter what. His 20 to 24, and as they tank down the stretch, the 26s and the 27s. But in the meantime, maybe it's time for Domantas Sabonis to rehab some of his value. And, maybe they try to run a Sabonis, Keegan, DeAndre Hunter, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan, down the stretch for like 4 or 5 games just to see what that all looks like, because they might be stuck with these guys for the next year anyway. You might as well see what you can do. I do think Domantas Sabonis will be marketed in the off season, but he's not getting any younger. The defensive issues are getting worse. The only thing that's getting better is the length of his contract. And I think he will want to get out. And I just don't think there's going to be a lot of homes for them. So maybe the saddest thing here, Doc, is that I think Kings fans deep in their hearts know that Vivek Ranadive probably wants to try to win with this squad. And that I think is the end of the fantasy analysis there, unless I missed an angle. Are you gonna buy low or sell high on Domantas Sabonis stock?
No, I don't have any of these guys on any of my rosters. I have no Kings. I might have Monks. No, I think I got Moody. No, I mean, I don't. This is a mess. It's a mess.
I'm going to sum the board up for the Kings. Russell Westbrook, a roster player. DeMar DeRozan, or a must roster player, just because they give him the ball so damn much. Malik Monk, spec hold. If you were sitting on like 2 ads that you could make for the trade deadline, it'd be very questionable if I would use one on Malik Monk, just because it's pretty risky, and you want to kind of save your ads. If you got 4 ads and you want to use one of your 4 ads on Malik Monk, I'm pretty good with that too. If you've already used one, you got 3 left, I would probably be open to swinging on the upside there. Zach LaVine, I think, is a must roster player in 14 team leagues, at least 12 team leagues. I know he's been bad lately, but he's got that potential. Nick Clifford, I don't think is rosterable. Dylan Cardwell, if you need a big man, has rest of season upside for the tanking Kings. I do think there's a strong case for him to be a must roster player in 14 team leagues if you play 2 centers. And I think that's everybody. And DeAndre Hunter, a spec ad in a 12-team league. I wouldn't go as far as to call him a must-roster player in Sacramento, but they really want him to work out for this the remaining part of this year. But the problem is they're going to tank, so that puts question marks behind everybody to some degree. All right, I hope that summed it up for the Kings. Let's get to the Memphis Grizzlies. They traded Jaren Jackson Jr., John Conchar, Jock Landale, Vince Williams to the Utah Jazz for Walter Clayton, and I will not cackle, I promise you guys, Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, Georges Niang, and 3 future first-round picks. Let's get some rapid-fire winners and losers, Doc. Do you got winners in Grizzly land?
I'm all about GG Jackson right now. I think he's a big winner, and I'm feeling it, and I'm excited about it.
I love it. I think Walter Clayton is a winner, just getting into a new spot where maybe it's almost just like turning the video game off, blowing on the cartridge, popping it back in and seeing if it'll work out. Santi Aldama, I think total question mark right now with the trade deadline still 1 day to go. Is he traded? Does he stick around? If he sticks around, this is great for value. He's got some injury risk, but he's been a must roster guy all season long. If Jakob Poeltl has anything in the tank and he does get traded to the Grizzlies, they do need a big man. So it's just a name to watch as we go through the next 24 hours. If he does get traded to the Grizzlies magically, and you get a report as well that he's not that unhealthy, if you need a center, if you're desperate, that would be maybe worth a spec ad, but we're talking pretty deep leagues. It does help Zach Edey in the sense you don't have JJJ around to kind of steal minutes and touches. Taylor Hendricks, the same thing as Walter Clayton. Let's see if it looks better, but I don't think you're running out there to add. What about losers, Doc?
You don't seem to be worried about Ty Jerome and Cam Spencer, but
the 5,000 guards they have?
You look down that point guard depth chart. It's Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen, Cam Spencer, Walter Clayton. I don't like that, man. It's 4 guys. And yeah, some of them will play time at shooting guard, but you got Cedric Coward over there. He's going to get a lot of minutes. I don't think there's enough minutes to go around. Like, I want to believe in Ty Jerome and his first 2 games back this year. Incredible. So I'm staying the course with Ty Jerome and keeping the faith, but I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, Cam Spencer is not breaking the right way for him. The only thing that we can say about Cam Spencer with good certainty is that he hasn't really dipped beneath the top 125 all season long, and he's been playing 24 minutes per game all season long. He was really good up at the 26 and 28 mark. Probably say 2/3 of the time he was really, really productive, top 50 stuff. About 1/3 of the time it was a little disappointing considering he got the full boat of minutes and didn't really just slam the door shut on a lot of this stuff. I'm just hopeful with Memphis that they morph into this up-tempo team and really, truly try to realize the vision that Thomas Asalo has. If you have any doubts about Ty Jerome, by the way, go listen to Asalo talk about Ty Jerome after this last game. He spent 2 minutes in great technical detail about Ty Jerome and what he sees there. So I think Ty Jerome, barring injury concerns, is going to be amazing. All right, guys, we're going to get to the Jazz here in a quick second. But if you are getting value out of all of this, consider checking out the sportsethos.com blurb feed where you get all of this information rapid fire style as well. All right, Doc, on the Jazz side, do we have winners or losers over there?
Well, Isaiah Collier, what he did last night was amazing. So he might be, I mean, he looks like a winner out of this, right?
Yeah, I think
Kyle
with the Filipowski.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with the backup role seemingly all his, and who knows what they're going to do? Like, are they going to try to tank this thing with all these guys? And how are they going to tank this thing? And Keontae George just had an ankle injury. I don't know how bad that really truly is.
Well, and he was out last night, which is why Collier went off. But
yeah, played all 48 minutes. And the other thing with Collier is he does have holes in his stat set. So he has to be really, really good for it to really, really help in standard leagues if you're not punting categories. So that's just a little bit of a downer there. But I think he wins in this deal. And then Kyle Filipowski is the ultimate question mark, as usual. I have no clue because we just don't know. Like, if they tank, is it a soft tank? Is it the full tank? Is it no tank? They like Washington have basically said, we want to get back into this thing. We're going to do it with this crew. They've really thrown a lot of weight internally and with the press that this is their crew. So does that mean they actually try to run this out and they don't care about their draft pick? That doesn't seem logical. So what does the tank look like there for Kyle Filipowski? Doc, if you got anything to say about any of the aforementioned teams, feel free to get it in here.
On the Jazz, I think Lauri Markkanen, the chances of him finishing the season are not great. And when he goes bye-bye, I think Filipowski and Bryce Sensabaugh are both going to pick it up. And right now, I actually fully trust Ace Bailey right now, which I could not say that a month ago.
They just had a massive game against the hapless Indiana Pacers, who ran out the G League squad last night. And Ace Bailey just was bonkers in that game. And he's been consistent lately, and they've got every reason to play him. And they think they got something, with that old veteran core, and you throw Ace Bailey in there as well. They gave up Walter Clayton and 3 first-round draft picks. It is an amazing swing there for the Utah Jazz. All right, some other news. The Hawks traded Vit Krejci to the Portland Trailblazers for Duop Reath, 2 future second-round picks. Not much going on there. Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit agreed to a multi-team deal that sent Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley Jr. to the Bulls, and Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric to the Pistons. Then in addition to that, the Bulls traded Nick Vucevic and a second-round pick to the Boston Celtics for Anthony Simons and a second-round pick. So the Bulls are at the center of all of this, Doc. And let's go through some winners and losers. Let's start with the Chicago Bulls. So like Huerter for Ivy is kind of a neutral deal, but Simons arriving, that adds more guards. And then Kobe White is at the center of the kind of trade deadline discussion going on out there. What do you got here?
Well, I don't know what to make of this, because I think Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, I don't know how the Bulls feel about them. I don't know if they want them. I don't know if they want them gone. I don't know if they traded for Anthony Simons because they want him or because that was the best they could get for Vooch. I don't know, but they've got a lot of guards. Giddey's hurt. All I really know is that Vooch going to the Celtics is not fair, and I feel bad for Neemias Queta.
Yeah. I think for Jalen Smith, there's been a lot of hype about Jalen Smith being kind of like a league winner player. I got him in a lot of places. I hope this is true. He's also an injury risk guy that's got some holes in his stat set. So that's just the overriding concern. Does this make things a lot better for him? Absolutely.
And who else is going to play center? No, who's going to play center for that team?
Yeah, no, that's kind of like the blessing and the curse is if they unleash all the minutes on Jalen Smith, can he handle them? Does he get hurt? Do they basically start tanking at some point in time and, all the different things. But I actually really like this for your guy, Modest Bacelis. I think this kind of clears yet another obstacle out of the way for him, and then he can start to be a bigger focal point. So that buy low from a couple weeks back, it's really, really a couple months even, looking really, really good there. And then we just got to see what happens if they keep dealing guards. Is this more of a neutral transaction for them? We'll have to see about that. Minnesota, I don't think there's any winners and losers, obviously. It's just what happens next.
Jalen Smith, real quick. I know he's your guy, and you've been on him for years. Literally years.
And I don't think he's my guy, but...
And I got fired up about him one year in Indianapolis. It's just never panned out, right? Is he now officially a must-own player in every format? You have to go get him.
He is. But there's nobody else there, like you said earlier. There's nobody else there.
So out of all the guys we've talked about today, I would say Jalen Smith is probably the number one. Don't think about it. Burn your ad and get him.
Absolutely. And mostly what I'm saying is, because that action's got to happen. Like, unless you have a fab situation that's the end of this week, like you either see Jalen Smith on your waiver wire and grab him, or you don't, and somebody else is doing it because he probably was already added. I think the questions surrounding Jalen Smith more or less surround like how well he is going to do. So like, if you have Jalen Smith, can you sell him for, like, you got people talking about league winner, do you sell him right now while the hype is at its peak? I would be inclined to say yes. Versus, do you buy into Jalen Smith if somebody also has him on a roster? Do you believe he's a league winner? And, and you think that somebody like me is wrong saying that the upside might not be there. So it's just, how high does he go for Jalen Smith? Absolutely must roster player, and probably at this point, maybe the best ad of the bunch. Okay. And then as far as Minnesota goes, no winners or losers there. The Pistons, they add Kevin Huerter, and so I don't think the 11 whatever minutes that Jaden Ivey was playing per game is doing much. I think adding Kevin Huerter just adds more talent to the roster. If anything, Dennis Jenkins is a loser there. And on the Celtics side, this is really interesting. We got a lot of Neemias Queta around here. Queta, that's right. So you bring Nick Vucevic in, and I saw an article from Brian Robb of, I believe it's masslive.com, longtime writer for the Boston Celtics. He was talking like it's possible that they reroute Vucevic, that it's not 100% clear that he's staying. So I don't know how that story has evolved in the last 12 hours. I've read that one last night. So at the current state of affairs, you got Vucevic, Queta, and Luka Garza, who's actually been pretty damn good. So a lot of people are just like outright dropping Keita. And I'm a little bit more like wait and see here because it's not like he plays a ton of minutes anyway. Like I think he's 24 minutes per game on the season. And I'm asking myself, like, if you're Boston, like Keita's been pretty damn good on offense and he gives you way more defense than Vucevic gives you. He's been with you all season. Like, are you really ready to turn this thing over to Vucevic for 28 minutes per game and then put Keita back there for 20 and put Luka Garza on the bench? I kind of wonder if we see 22, 24 minutes a game out of Vucevic, the same like 20, 22 out of Keita, and like 5, 10 minutes out of Garza. So I could say with certainty that Keita's a loser. I would guess, Doc, you'd be willing to drop him, right? Because you're playing in kind of more 12-team action. I'm a little bit more in the 14-team league.
I think Keita's a big loser, and I don't think that the Celtics, they're like, man, we can move Anthony Simons, who we don't even really need. Like he was just a luxury guard for them to have on their team, and we can get a top, one of the best centers over the last 13 years. Let's do it. I don't think they did this. I don't think they're trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but they're like, we got Vooch. And he's basically Porzingis without the injury risk. So now we got a full-time Porzingis, and let's just run him out there. So.
Debatable. That's what I say to my kid when he says some wild idea. It's debatable.
It is debatable, but I feel like I don't know if I'm dropping Keita, but I'm pretty close to it.
I'll put it to you like this, and I think we see some boom in the chat here. So we've got another trade. Andre, you're a little bit slow on the trade music today. Just putting that out there. The Bulls are trading Kobe White and Mike Conley Jr. to the Charlotte Hornets for Colin Sexton, Ousmane Dieng, and 3 second-round picks. So the Charlotte Hornets are going for it. And they're adding Kobe White, which takes the Chicago conversation we just had and evens it out, right? We had too many guards in Chicago. We had 1 additional guard. Well, now we're at a 0 because Kobe White is out. And I guess Colin Sexton is in. And we'll have to see what they want to do there. But I can't imagine, the top tier guards. We'll have to maybe go through them. But like Josh Giddey, which, by the way, Doc, I hate to say it, but maybe that hamstring injury is worse than they're letting on.
Maybe he shouldn't have come back so soon and played back to back. Like, maybe that.
Yeah, maybe. And so they're adding Colin Sexton into this mix. So it's not exactly like all the way a 0. Kobe White, a big time player. Colin Sexton, good for 20 minutes a game in basically any uniform. So Trey Jones, you've got Anthony Simons, and then Ayo Dosunmu and Josh Giddey. That's 5 guards right there for 2 or 3 slots, depending on how you want to shake that out. I'm not moving the needle, I don't think, for Giddey or Ayo or even Trey Jones. I think Trey Jones has carved out his lane. And as long as he's healthy, he'll be in that lane. Colin Sexton, we'll have to see what happens there. I could see Colin Sexton getting traded like 10 times today. I don't know anything about the cap with regard to Colin Sexton, but that could happen.
Sexton
so anyway,
Simons, I don't know. I don't know what to think with them on the Bulls.
These are not players that I would be targeting. I mean, Sexton more than Simons. I just think Simons, they could talk about in Boston how his defense improved. I'm not going to buy that. Like, there's too much bad stuff there to build around.
Andre's saying Simons may not stick with the Bulls. So Ayo Dosunmu has to be a major league winner here, right?
It just maybe depends. I mean, he's been on a lot of rosters, so I don't know if he's been dropped yet. I think a lot of people sell Ayo short. We got another breaking news piece, but it's not a trade related thing, so I'll just kind of sit on that one. Great. If you put it on the board, I'll read it, Andre. But let's kind of dig into Charlotte here first, Doc. So Con Knippel has been having a great year, and they add Kobe White to this mix. Should we be worried at all about Con Knippel? I'm gonna go no, but what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think, although, where's Kobe gonna play? I guess he's the backup point guard now. Interesting.
Well, I mean, you've got LaMelo Ball there, who comes off the bench sometimes, but Kobe White has been almost like pigeonholed into a bench playing role for a lot of his career. But you could go, let whatever happen at the 1, and then just have Con Knipple and Kobe White fill out the 2 and the 3. And if LaMelo has to come off the bench, then you could just slide over and play Kobe at the 1, Con at the 2. So is there enough basketballs to go around there? I know Miles Bridges has had some usage issues lately. Brandon Miller takes a ton of shots. LaMelo's taking a ton of shots. The big men don't take any shots. That's helpful. Sion James doesn't take any shots. He gets minutes. So that's helpful. Would you fade anybody?
I don't know if I'm fading anyone, but Kobe is going to at least do some damage to LaMelo, Con Knipple, and Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges, all of them. And I'm really worried now about Miles Bridges because you have another guy that likes to shoot and likes to have the ball in his hands that's not going to be looking to pass it to Miles Bridges. I feel like Miles Bridges is just being squeezed all the way out of this thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at Brandon Miller for that. I want to see better percentages out of Brandon Miller if he's going to take that many shots. And a lot of his shots come from deep, and that's why you get some of these crooked shooting lines. But overall, you want to see like the whole package. You want to see the assists get up. You want to see the percentages get up. And if others are struggling in the box score, it's usually a sign that it's not working out well. That said, I think Con Knipple is like I've just become enamored with the way that his off-ball game drives so much good value everywhere else on the floor. So I'm a little optimistic that Kobe, when he gets there, might be additive to this equation. Like they play better basketball overall. They're just more dynamic, maybe less reliant on LaMelo Ball to get into certain actions and to gain that respect from the defense. But this thing comes back to can LaMelo Ball play smart basketball, and can Brandon Miller keep the shots efficient and find his teammates? And you're right about what's his name? Miles Bridges. Yeah, you're right about Miles. He's going to have to do something different to affect the ball game, and hopefully that means more efficiency and maybe some defensive stats would be great out of him. I think it's about a 1 to 2 round loss for him, and for Con, I would also say this is about a round or 2 loss for him as well. And for LaMelo, I would say this is also a round or 2 loss for him, because they were playing at peak efficiency levels in terms of minutes and touches and shots and all those different things. And this is going to take them out of that perfect gear and move them, like I said, a couple rounds down. All right, let's get back to, we were talking about the Celtics, and we wrapped that up. And I would basically say with Neemias Queta, if you need to drop because he's playing right at the cut line for your particular league, it's certainly cuttable. It's a cuttable situation. Just don't be surprised if we see Nick Vucevic's name in the news, or maybe we get some insight as to what they actually want to do with him. And Queta can be good in 24 minutes per game. He could probably be good in 22 minutes per game. And we'll see what happens next there. All right. Keegan Murray progressing.
I'm going to read this just because it's funny. Jackson Hayes suspended for 1 game.
Yes.
Because he pushed the Wizards mascot during pregame introductions. Brew, do you know what the Wizards mascot looks like off the top of your head?
No.
I don't either. I have no idea.
I don't.
I have no clue.
It's kind of like Scoot Henderson. I don't know what Scoot Henderson looks like. I just have no clue. Jackson Hayes. If it's not one thing, it's the other. And what would have happened if Robin Lopez got the same treatment as Jackson Hayes? He'd never play in a basketball game. Keegan Murray progressing in his rehab. They're going to hold him out until after the All-Star break. That's probably smart for everybody involved in Sacramento. Looks like Mike Conley might return to the Wolves via free agency. So that just popped up here in the last few seconds. So that's a good news story, just kind of a heartwarming story.
Neat.
And Franz is doing good, according to Magic coach Jamal Mosley. He said that at pregame in Oklahoma City, and I believe it was Jason Beat on that. And I think he was able to get on the floor, just still not a lot of contact yet, says Mosley, but he was able to move a little bit more on the floor today. okay, maybe let's not play him in Germany just for bleeps and giggles. Or I guess I could say shits and giggles. It's a German thing, right? That's a bad move for the Orlando Magic. Like, that is not okay. Like, you cannot, in this stage of your development, make that decision. And he's still not a lot of contact yet. Lost season for Franz Wagner. And I think we're looking at a couple weeks here after the All-Star break, probably would be the target here. So everybody else that's been in a catbird seat, all the normal guys in Orlando, they get more of that going forward. As mentioned, I was crying on the ground when Kevin Porter Jr. got called back into action as today. He's back. I don't even want to talk about that, actually, but he's back and has top 25 potential. Now, there could be some things that happen in Milwaukee to bring in a lot of players if they trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. Some of that Golden State stuff had a ton of players going back. Who else is in the mix there? We were talking about it earlier. Who's Andre's leader in the clubhouse? It was forget. I mean, for Miami's what? In the mix for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, the Warriors.
Oh, the Wolves. Right? The Wolves. So we got to see what's going to happen there. But he's got top 25 potential. He's the most roster player. He's a run, don't walk guy. Burn one of your ads on Kevin Porter Jr.
For sure.
And I think actually McMahon's news we covered already. So after long last, sir, let's get into the
breaking Cam Thomas news, Brew.
Oh, well, let's see. I think we're ready to start the real show.
Cam Thomas is not with the Nets as they are in the process of departing for tomorrow night's game against Orlando. He's officially out for personal reasons. Brew, I was talking about Dylan Harper earlier. I made a move today. I dropped Cam Thomas and picked up Dylan Harper. So this news that he's not even with the team right now makes me feel better about it.
Who's going to add 20 bad shots to their team? Let's find out in the next 24 hours. And before we dive into your My Guys, Doc, and my Bruski 150 players of the night, we want to remind you about our NBA trade deadline special. We're going to be reacting live to all the action, breaking down exactly how each of these moves impacts your fantasy basketball league. Every year, this show's been the go-to destination for thousands of viewers looking for the hottest ads and smartest reactions after every trade. That's going to be 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern tomorrow. All right, Doc, let's get to your My Guys from last night. Who you got?
Woo!
Yeah. That's a humdinger of a read
right there.
Woo. The show starts an hour in. I love it.
Hour and 17 minutes.
Oh my God.
Isaiah Collier, as we mentioned, 17 points, 5 boards, 22 dimes, 3 steals last night for the Utah Jazz. Keontae George was out. I'm pretty sure we said that Collier was an interesting streamer or an interesting FanDuel play. Absolutely went crazy. And then Jarris Walker for the dismantled Pacers, 24.6 boards, 4 dimes, a steal, and a 3. And I think Jarris Walker is sort of going to be the guy that the Pacers just let play the rest of the season. I think everybody else, we're going to see people start getting days off, like Pascal Siakam and Nesmith and Nembhard. But I think Jarris Walker, they're just going to let him rip and let him do his thing. And the Pacers tried to win. The players tried to win that game last night, but the coaches, the management sort of made sure it wouldn't happen before the game.
I'm just telling Andre if we do the marathon next year that there needs to be booze involved. Ooh. Otherwise, there's no way I'm going to make it. All of what you said, Doc, was tremendous and totally actionable. The Jarris Walker one is fascinating. 8 turnovers last night, 24, 6, and 4 and a steal. I mean, it's happening. And Doc, you were right on that. I'd say earlier than anybody I saw. And it just all makes sense. It's going to be such a spectacular display of terrible basketball.
It's going to be gross, right? It's going to be
nasty.
It's going to be dirty.
It's going to be wonderful. And let's take a
fun.
I think so. I mean, look, they got to do it, right? And there was I think it was what's her name in Caitlin Clark? No, Caitlin. What's Caitlin the beat writer's last name? She's really good. She was like, Jarris Walker has turned the ball 3 times in a row, and Rick Carla has not pulled him out yet. So things were noticed in that game. All right, let's look at the B150 players of last night. I'll give the audience a Caitlin Cooper, who's one of the best there is. All right, the Bruski 150 players of the night. I'll let everybody in the audience try to take a wild guess who it's going to be. It's going to be Colin Gillespie, 30 points, 4 boards, 10 assists, 3 steals, 8 threes. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. Grayson Allen, 24 and 4, 6 threes of his own. Those two just play so well together, and they are so key with what the Phoenix Suns are doing and their success story this season. Mark Williams, 24 and 11 with 1 block. I don't know. We hit on one of these every single season, and literally nobody else drafted the guy. We have all of the Colin Gillespie. I think, Doc, this is maybe the best B150 play I've ever had. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it. I'm not sure, but he's probably going to finish in the top 30. He's probably going to finish in the top 30, and he's going to be a future all-star. You can bank that. Hell no, says Andre. Okay, you give me a better one. Give me a better one. Jalen Johnson got knocked out by Kyle Kuzma, so he didn't finish that season where he needed to finish. Collins dodged all that. He's in there. He's going to be top 25, and people didn't even know who he was on draft day. And Doc, yeah, if you want to, you can. You can. I give you permission.
I'm good.
You good? You good? Okay. A little behind the scenes stuff there. All right. And let's get to Karl Anthony Towns, 19 and 15 with 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 3. The cat revolution is upon us. I think that the change that's been inspired in New York had to happen. This was a gut thing. It was a feel thing. You can't have Cat on the shelf that entire time. That said, it's still a day to go in the trade deadline. We don't know what's going to happen. But if they're going to win in New York, they need Cat to be good. And you start to see them shift their defensive calls to help him out a little bit, as well as him getting just simply better. And then Keyshawn George, it's not all flowers and roses over here. Keyshawn George, 8 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. All these old dudes joining his team. Alex Sarr, 11 and 9, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 3. Justin Champagnie was off the radar last night. They were playing the Will Rileys and the AJ Johnsons, and that might have been a showcase. And that box score health was crap. We're in trade deadline week. Do not fade Keyshawn George. Do not fade Alex Sarr. Be respectful of the calf injury for Alex Sarr. And that's the best I can say there. I think we'll watch and see what happens next. But Keyshawn George has been a top 50 guy in 8 cat leagues and the top 100 guy in 9 cat leagues. Most y'all are punt your turnovers anyway. All right. Let's look at our top ads from last night, Doc. And before we do that, if you're listening on the pod feed, please make sure to leave the Fantasy NBA Today podcast a 5-star review. It truly helps us out, and we thank you guys so much. All right, Doc, who was your first ad from last night?
You know, I'm not going to say this is my top ad, but an interesting player are both Jacksons in Indiana. There's Quentin and there's Isaiah. And Quentin last night had 24 points, 3 steals, 3 assists, 2 threes, hit 9 of 10 shots. He only played 17 minutes. Dude caught fire. The Pacers lost that game by, 9 points? So just very interesting. I keep talking about how the Pacers are going to start just openly tanking, just start resting guys like they did last night. And I think when that happens, a guy like Quentin Jackson is at least interesting. Like we have to keep our eye on Quentin Jackson. And the next time the Pacers sit everybody down, I bet you Quentin Jackson gets more minutes than he did last night. So not a guy you run out. He's definitely not a run to pick up, but he's just somebody to put on your watch list and keep a close eye on going forward.
He's somebody to stream the next game after the starters play. And hopefully you get like that continuation of his role at some point. And I got him in 30 deep, Doc, and I'm extraordinarily excited about that. And because what's going to happen down the stretch here. And at some point in time, I think it's going to be Quentin Jackson season. And as you mentioned, Isaiah Jackson, 11 and 10 with that steal and a block. That's 2 good games in a row for him. So maybe, just maybe, he's ready to go. If you need a big man, and especially in like a 2-center league, Isaiah Jackson's looking like a pretty good spec ad right now because the going's pretty rough in those deeper formats for big men. All right, I'll look at Day'Ron Sharpe. He finally did something, 19 and 14 with 5 assists, 3 steals. This is what happens when you give him the 21st minute. Brooklyn, he had 26 minutes in this really terrible game. That it was a blowout and there were stats flying all over the place. Zaire Williams had 17 points, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 threes. I like Zaire Williams, but I don't like any of them kind of overall. Like it was, Clowney for a bit, and then he started missing games, and he's going to get back soon. And Zaire's been off the board forever. So we just don't know what's what in Brooklyn. And this was probably a showcase game for Day'Ron Sharpe, who's been connected with about 2 or 3 different teams looking for a 20-minute per game big man. So Day'Ron Sharpe gets a little bit of a lease on life in 12 to 14 team leagues where he was a low-end play who had a little bit of upside, and then he did nothing with it for the last 3 weeks. So he's just been kind of straddling the line there. Doc, who do you got?
Breaking news, Brew. Ja Morant is disinterested with the idea of playing for the Kings, per Kelly Aiko. Morant has a strong preference for the Heat or Wolves.
I forget who said this. I think it was Jill Adge, the great Jill Adge here in Sacramento. She said, you should have known that before this all happened. Or you should have known that a couple of months or years ago. Like, if you play like Ja Morant and you act like Ja Morant, you might just get traded to the Kings, dude. You get to basketball hell.
All right.
Sorry.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I think you're up. It's your next out of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I just that Ja Morant is that Ja Morant. He's hilarious. A kidder. He's a funny guy.
He is a kidder.
Daniel Gafford is my guy, and I'm worried, Brew. The Mavericks are currently not in the play-in. There are 3.5 games out, and that and the trade they just made, they got really nothing back. It's not like they're going to suddenly be better now. It's not looking good. But I'm going to go with Daniel Gafford. He had 10 points last night, 12 boards, 2 blocks, a steal, 25 minutes, hit 4 or 5 shots. He had 16 and 11 in his last game. And he's just a good player, but he's got Dorito ankles right now, and Dallas ain't going anywhere. And if they decide to shut him down, 1, let's go Musa Cisse, and 2, fantasy managers are going to be really bummed that have Gafford on their team right now. But as of right now, at least like hopefully from now till the All-Star break, I want Daniel Gafford on my team.
It feels like he's going to just go out there with whatever ankle he has left, and that might actually be good enough to get the 10 and 12 and the steal and the 2 blocks. It's like totally dangerous, not advisable, but it's happening. And he actually has mid-round upside very easy, as evidenced by these numbers. So it's like, I think if you're in a bad spot and everything else looks bad, why not Gafford? I don't think you use an ad on him this week. If you've got 2 ads left, 3 ads left, 4 ads, maybe even. If you're limited in that regard, it's kind of dead man walking, it feels like. I mean, he literally rolled it again and walked off the floor without his shoe on, and he just can't. And it's one of the sadder stories. I feel like I think it's like one of these things where it's like, good job, man. Like, you're trying, and I hope you're doing all the smart things. But yeah, risky business, but it's working right now. I had AJ Johnson and a side of Will Riley on my board. Now AJ Johnson not with the same team, now in Dallas, and people here at Sports Ethos can attest. I watched a lot of AJ Johnson film over the off season because he's just lightning in a bottle, man. This guy's got hops. He's quick. He put up 14, 4, and 4 as they were showcasing him, most likely a steal. Super rail thin. Like, he's got a lot to develop to become a full-time NBA every night player. But I mean, if we got excited about Jaden Harvey in Dallas, like, I would be more excited about AJ Johnson just on pure potential alone. And if they really start to tank, and if Cooper Flagg gets hurt or something like that, AJ Johnson would be worth a look, and might have been worth a look if he had stuck in Washington. And then Will Riley's interesting. I've seen him come on to the radar from time to time this season, the 17.6 boards, 2 threes, and a couple straight good games. I don't think he's going to unseat Justin Champagnie. That's my kind of take there. And I think they will try to give him some additional run this season, but Champagnie is probably being iced due to the trade deadline, though We'll have to see what happens next there. I'm still pro Champagny, usually pro Champagny. Let's get to the drop zone, Doc. Who's your first drop zone guy?
DeAndre Ayton, 7 points, 8 boards, no blocks, 8 minutes, just kind of yucky. And then Sunday, 13 points, 5 boards, no blocks. Yeah, that big game, like January 30th against Washington, he went off 28-13, 3 blocks and a steal. And you're like, okay, Ayton's back, but he's not. He's just so blasé. I just don't think he cares, man. Like you look at his January game log, and it's really pretty bad. A lot of single digit scoring, a lot of single digit rebounds, a lot of 1 or 0 block games. It's just, I don't know. I don't think you can just cut DeAndre Ayton. Brew, is DeAndre Ayton cuttable in an 8-team league?
Yes, in an 8-team league. Yes,
10-team.
In a 10-team.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
12.
Like he's at about a top 100 value right now, and kind of pointing the wrong direction here.
And you might be able to find a guy on your waiver wire who's better. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of centers out there. It seems like centers are available. So just make sure there's not somebody better than Ayton on your waiver wire.
I'll take us to Justin Champagny, who we already covered. And Bilal Coulibaly they were sort of paired together for me. He had Bilal had 3 points, 2 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 3. When you look at that box score from last night's game, you had a lot of players playing underneath their level, and you also had a lot of bench guys that were either getting showcased or however you want to look at it. And that's the second straight game, and I think that starts to wear on a team, and you also just don't have the collective solid play out of your group, so everybody's numbers start to suffer. So there's reasons for these things. I already talked about Champagny, and you guys probably know what I'm going to say before it comes out of my mouth there. With Bilal Coulibaly, it's probably the biggest dip down, I should say, than we've seen in the last couple of weeks for him. So that's probably going to scare people away, but I don't think Bilal Coulibaly's value proposition has changed too much as one bad game hits before the trade deadline. So I'd hold their value steady in my head. Doc, who do you got?
Nimish Keita, 8 points, 8 boards, a block, a steal last night, 28 minutes. Nikola Vucevic just got to town, or he's on his way to Boston right now. There's no way that doesn't hurt Keita and his fantasy value, at least some. And it could ruin it. It could absolutely ruin it. So I don't know. You gotta think about.
Your analysis is correct, but I got this like feeling that Keita is just going to punch through and keep most of his value, not all, but most, like maybe a 10% reduction in value. That's my hope. We'll see what happens next. I had Quentin Grimes on here, and he had 10 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 threes. The last couple games, those numbers are starting to perk back up. He's starting to maintain that 25-ish minute roll, and it's got the up arrow next to it. So everything that's going on with Quentin Grimes, including the trades, et cetera, that we're seeing, it seems to be all pointing back toward Quentin Grimes being at least a top 100 value. I think there's upside beyond that. So that would be my hope, at least, considering how many Quentin Grimes I have on teams and other players I dropped, not to be named, Kevin Porter, to hang on to Quentin Grimes during his 3-game segment here for the first 4 days of this week. Not that I'm crying about it, but let's get to Draymond Green, Doc. You like to bang on Draymond Green a little bit, and he's been in the drop zone all season. He had 6.7 boards, 3 assists, 2 threes. Very interesting stuff. Why I think the Giannis trade is still kind of in play for Golden State is he had a little bit of a moment with reporters after the game. Like, was this your last game as a Golden State Warrior? It's a big deal. I mean, we're talking about a Hall of Famer that's going to, go down in Warriors history and all the different things. And he was honest. He looked like a guy that was ready to be traded. And so my thought process here is, all right, well, I'm not saying go add Draymond Green. I mean, depending on your league size, you might think this is wise or not. But like, let's say he gets traded to Milwaukee, and let's say he has a real chip on his shoulder. Like, maybe he gets unleashed. Maybe he starts caring about defensive stats. Maybe he's just a little bit more aggressive. I mean, he could also spiral, you never know. But I think the change of circumstance, whether it's looks good now or not, at least it's something different that might happen in the future. I just thought it would be worth bringing up just slightly for you guys. And shout out to our huge live audience across all the different platforms. Please drop a thumbs up on the video if you guys are watching us on the Sports Ethos YouTube channel, and join us tomorrow for our trade deadline special episode. Let's get to our streamers, Doc. Who is your first streamer for tonight? I think this gentleman is either, what are you pouring into a cup over there with your mute button theoretically on? I can't see if it's on or not.
Oh man, I blew the whole bit.
Yeah, that amazing point you had. And you're doing a bit. You're doing a bit.
I'm either streaming Simply Lemonade or Creature Comforts Tropicalia right now, and I can't decide which one of these things to bust open. But my cup is empty, and I need to put something in it because I'm parched.
Can you share?
I don't know what to do.
I think we got some IPAs over here. We could probably crack a couple open.
I think I'm gonna bust out the IPA. But before I do that, I'm gonna talk about Jordan Miller of the Clippers, man. 20 points on Sunday, 21 points on Monday, 4 efforts, 2 assists, hits threes, gets some steals. Harden's gone. Darius is out. I just think it's Jordan Miller time. And to go along with Jordan Miller, while we're in the Los Angeles, I think Chris Dunn and Kobe Sanders are both going to get a bunch of run. I think they're going to get a bunch of run until Darius is back. So what do you think, Brew?
I agree. No, I think it's going to be great for them. And that's I think we've kind of covered them. I'm gonna take us over to Memphis, where anybody with a pulse is available for streaming tonight. Let's kind of go through them in order. Obviously, Ty Jerome's a must-roster player. Cam Spencer's a great streamer. He would be the number one streamer for me. Cedric Coward is probably a must-roster player right now because they've sort of declared him a franchise guy going forward. The fantasy value is not as good because he's got 0.9 combined defensive stats on the season in 27 minutes per game, and his current rank is outside of the top 150 for 27 minutes per game. So I don't know how much better the things are going to get for him down the stretch. Jalen Wells is due for a big night tonight. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will probably unload the clip because they're going to let him know he can. And then your guy, Gigi Jackson, might be a better pickup than Jalen Wells. And he might theoretically be a silly season guy. I know he's got holes in his stat set. That's a given with him. He's shooting 72.5% from the foul line this season, just 47% from the field. So the percentages aren't great, but he's not turning it over. He might flirt with 2 defensive stats per game if he keeps up his pace. That's new. That's good. And then the scoring and the rebounding are there, especially if other guys get out of the way. So Gigi Jackson's interesting. And then I think you could possibly look at and don't kill me if these guys aren't on the roster, but Olivier Maxence Prosper every now and then gets interesting. And Javon Small, I actually like Javon Small right after Gigi Jackson. I would say I would go Coward, Jackson, KCP. Well, and I guess Javon Small is going to be at the bottom of this list, but I do like him, and I think he will get 25 minutes tonight. All right, Doc, who do you got for a streamer?
Dylan Harper of the San Antonio Spurs. I think he's in, and we don't know if Stephon Castle is going to play or not. And Dylan Harper's last 3 games, pretty good, man. A steal and a block in 2 of them, a block in all 3 of them. 3 threes in his last 3 games, at least 15 points in his last 3 games. And if it all depends on if Castle's out. If Castle's out, I want to roll with Dylan Harper. And Brute, Gigi Jackson tonight, I think, is a perfect streamer. So fire him up.
Yeah. And all points agreed with and noted there. I'll take us to Dylan Cardwell and Maxime Reynaud, who I think got some bad news tonight. I'm not actually going to recommend them as streamers. I think Cardwell's got good rest of season value. I think you might sit on this one because having Domantas Sabonis be kind of linked to the trade deadline made this seem less likely that he would play. And if he would play, maybe they would take it easy on him. And he's been dealing with a back issue anyway. So you would think that these two guys might be ready for a stream here. I think it's the opposite now. So I'm going to take them off the board, except, and then I might even just add to this and say, as we're talking about what we're going to watch for tonight. In fact, Doc, I'm going to switch segments. We're going to get into what we're watching for tonight. I'm going to take the first segment here because we're talking about the Kings and Grizzlies, and we just talked about the Grizzlies, and let's talk about those Kings. And the only thing I want to add here is Domantas Sabonis. I was going to almost do a send off for Domantas Sabonis. Now it feels like maybe he'll stick around, but if he's healthy and he's playing, if there's not other trade machinations out there, I think they might really go to him in this one. And so you might see a really big game out of Domantas Sabonis because he wants to get traded and they want him traded. So get out there and get yourself a triple-double. Doc, what you watching for tonight?
Oh, we've got the Celtics at the Rockets. The Celtics are 32-18. The Rockets are 31-17. The Rockets are 17-4 at home. Celtics are 16-10 on the road. Over at FanDuel, it is Rockets -4.5, -112. I think because the Rockets are at home, I would go with the Rockets minus the points in this one. But it's kind of scary because Boston's good. Is Boston really going to lose by 5 points or more in this game? So it's tough. I like the game. I like the matchup. I don't know that I'm going to bet this one, but if you want to, it's -4.5, -112 on FanDuel. KD is back for Houston. Both teams are pretty much at full strength, or they were at the time I put this together, but now Jaylen Brown is doubtful. No Jaylen Brown pushes me toward taking Houston minus the points. And this might be the last hurrah for our boy, Neemias Queta. So say goodbye to him, possibly, with a look at that game tonight.
Yep, and I want to see if Reed Shepherd can keep it up there. Doc, it looks like you're watching Thunder Spurs, but you still going to do it with all those guys out?
Well, I mean, it is the Thunder and it is the Spurs. Wemby's going to play. Dylan Harper is going to play. That's all I really care about. Now, for Oklahoma City, let's get the updated list here of who's out in that game. Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, AJ Mitchell, Jalen Williams. That's a lot of dudes. And Jared McCain's not there to help yet. So Cason Wallace is a great play tonight. So I think he's a great streamer. And also
Aaron
a
Wiggins.
pickup.
Yeah.
And Aaron Wiggins. Those two guys. I want both of them in my FanDuel lineups and my streams and everything else.
Isaiah Joe, spicy lately. Also worth a look in all of this. He kind of gets forgotten a little bit nowadays. Isaiah Joe can shoot it with the best of them. That entire lineup is also streamable. Okay, I'm going to be watching the Cavs and the Clippers. I want to see what they do with Keon. We won't see James Harden, I don't think. So we're going to get a wide open box score for the Los Angeles Clippers. That'll give us some intel there as well. But really, this is about Keon. They did talk. Kenny Atkinson did talk about Ben Fedor, a local beat writer. They are going to play Keon with Donovan Mitchell. They do expect to use him in some screening action. So I think they're looking at this and respecting some of the three-point shooting ability of Keon Ellis. And they also said they're going to play him as a backup three. So do they come in and give him 25 minutes a game? And do they say, hey, Keon, we want you to be aggressive? Because Keon could be just a little bit aggressive on offense. You get the steals, the threes, the blocks, you get a couple points and assists. And you're looking at the top 50 value that he had last season. I'm not saying that he's going to get there this season, guys. I'm just saying that I want to see what happens next. And that's going to do it, believe it or not, for this episode of Fantasy NBA Today. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Yo, did somebody get traded?
No, but I'm doing a Q&A with Dr. A right after this.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's the best news since I heard Andre Agassi wore a wig during his early career. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel so you guys never miss an episode. Make sure you're watching Q&A with Dr. A. Make sure you set a reminder for the Sports Ethos NBA trade deadline show here on Sports Ethos's YouTube channel. And make sure you join that thing so you guys get that Q&A. You don't want to miss that episode. So for all of us here at Sports Ethos, we will be back tomorrow with the deadline special that goes live at 9 noon Eastern time on the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. Join us for that. We'll also be dropping an episode tonight on the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed, recapping all of the action of the NBA trade deadline in our box score breakdown. This has been Fantasy NBA today, guys. So I go take a nap here in the corner, presented by FanDuel.